I've just counted, and to this date, I've worked with over 29,000 leaders. And out of all these leaders, I've recognized that there are some things that leaders do that disconnect them from their employees. Now, for me, this is really important because when I struggled in my leadership as I was serving as a principal of a junior high, my number one greatest issue is I didn't connect to my staff. In fact, our union president at the time had a hard conversation with me, and she gave me this analogy. She said, Jason, it's like you're a locomotive and you're traveling full steam down the tracks, but you've not connected to any of your boxcars. And a locomotive that's not connected to boxcars is useless. Well, those words hurt really bad, but she was 100% correct. My issue was I wasn't connecting to my staff members, and I fear that this is a major issue for a lot of leaders, especially since I've worked with thousands of them. Therefore, I want to share with you the top 5 ways in which leaders tend to disconnect from their employees. 5 things that they do that cause this disconnection to happen. Number 1, they don't listen. Now, this one really bothers me because listening is a relatively simple thing to do, and yet leaders frequently get busy with trying to meet their KPIs and getting parts out the door or meeting objectives or running from meeting to meeting to meeting that they don't slow down to listen to the people that they work with. They don't slow down to understand the needs and concerns of those that they're trying to serve. And when we slow down and truly become better at listening, we deepen the connection we have with people. You see, I believe that the common cold of poor leadership is bad listening. So let's slow down. And if you struggle with this, here's a simple little tool for you. I call it permit the pause. Listen to somebody, actively listen to somebody. Don't get distracted. Don't pull out your phone. Just listen to them. And when they're done talking, allow 3 seconds of pause to go by. Just stare at them for 3 seconds. They will continue talking. And congratulations, my friend, you will become a better listener. So get good at listening so you can get good at connecting. Number 2, leaders don't connect because they are unclear about roles and goals. One of the most frustrating things in employee experiences is to show up to work and not be sure about expectations. They don't really know what they're responsible for or not responsible for. They're a little fuzzy when it comes to what needs to get done during the day. So the clearer you can make that, the better you're going to be able to connect to your employees. I like to think about it this way. Every employee is showing up asking themselves 3 questions. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? And what's my role? Let me say those again. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? And what is my role? Make sure that you're crystal clear in the responses to those questions each and every day. And when you do so, you'll be a better connector. Number 3, they have an us versus them mindset. Now, you might be thinking that, hey, we all operate as a team because we're all striving to meet the same goal. That's great for you to talk about in your meetings, but is it really happening? My guess is that in some of your meetings you talk about them, right? Hey, if they could do a little more work, if they didn't make as many mistakes, if they could increase production, if they could do better at the sales. And we keep talking as though there's leaders and then there's workers. And that's not really a healthy thing for us to do. It causes, naturally, disconnection between leadership and employees. So what we need to do is bridge that gap. Instead of using they and us or they and I, why don't we just always use we? Hey, we need to do better at sales. That includes those leaders that are in the meeting and those that might actually be out doing the sales. Hey, we need to be doing better at production. That includes the leaders and it also includes our employees. If our employees are not getting the results that we want, most likely it's our fault. So we have to come together, change our language, use the we more than I or us versus them. And when you do so, you will connect on a better level. Number 4, and perhaps the most frustrating of all of them, they micromanage. You see, micromanagement we do as leaders because we want to make sure it's going to get done right, it's going to get done on time, and it's going to be done in our budget and the amount of money we've allocated for it. And those are all really important things. And so what do? We frequently check in with people. We frequently need updates. We frequently require people to CC us on emails so we know the progress. We might only give small portions of a project out instead of giving them the whole project because we're concerned about those things. And rightly so. Those are things to be concerned about. However, keep in mind that when you micromanage, what you're really doing is telling your employees you don't trust them. That is, every time you do a follow-up, every time you're checking in, every time you require them to come and prove things to you, you're basically saying, I don't trust you, so I need to check in. Now, there needs to be a balance between this because obviously you do need to check in. So my recommendation is ahead of time, clarify with each other. How frequently are you going to check in? How frequently do they want you to check in? So instead of you dictating these terms, maybe you ask your employee and say, hey, here's the project. I'd like you to be working on this. For my comfort level, I do need to check in once in a while. How frequently do you think that would be appropriate? Oh gosh, boss, if you could check in, every other day, that'd be great. I can give you a little progress report. Or you know what? Once a week at the end of the day on Friday, I'll send you an update in regards to where I am on this project. Whatever that might look like, I don't know. There's lots of ways to go about it. What I do know is when you lay off the micromanagement, when you trust your people to get the work done, even if it may cause a little bit of failure here and there, when you do that, you connect better with your employees. And finally, number 5, the 5th reason why leaders disconnect from their employees, they focus on weaknesses instead of strengths. Now, hear me out on this one. It's really easy for us to identify weaknesses. Think about the last one-on-one you were in or the last performance evaluation. How much time did you spend on celebrating stuff that they're really good at versus having a conversation about where their weaknesses were at and what they needed to grow in? My guess is you probably even developed some goals and maybe some objectives, some action steps based on where they're weak. What I've learned when it comes to weaknesses is when you focus on trying to grow your weakness, the very best you can expect is average. And maybe your employee is not average and you need to get that person up to average. Cool, that's a whole different conversation. But my guess is they're probably average. And the more you try to focus on where their weaknesses are at, the more frustrated they're going to become and the more frustrated you're going to become. Instead, my friends, think about it this way. What would happen if the majority of your time in your one-on-ones and in your performance evaluation meetings and even in your daily interactions with your employees were focusing on what's going on that's right? What are their strengths? Where are they good at? What skills, what attributes, what qualities do they have that really need to be highlighted? And what I've found is when we focus on the good, when we really try to strengthen their strengths, their performance increases in all of the different areas. They become even better than they were before. They grow and develop and you get tremendous results. Why? Because you're focusing on where their strengths are at. Not only that, they become more engaged. They stick around longer. They have more desire to be part of your team and part of your company, which, of course, as a leader, you want. So let's stop focusing on weaknesses so much and start focusing more on strengths. I believe in the rule of 4 to 1. 4 times we're praising them, we're celebrating, we're appreciating them on good stuff that's going on and highlighting where they're really strong at compared to 1 time when we're criticizing. 4 to 1. When you do that, it's a magic number. There's even research that will support me on that. So there you have it. 5 reasons why leaders tend to disconnect from their employees. They don't listen to their employees. They're unclear about roles and goals. They have an us versus them mindset. They micromanage and they focus on weaknesses. Get better at these 5 and you will connect with your employees. And when you connect your employees, your influence dramatically increases. I hope these tools help. I hope this message helps. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Take care.